Friends, welcome to another episode of Auto Afflicted. I'm your host, Ali Goulet. Today we're going to be freshening up the seats on the 300CE. We're going to be swapping out these crusty, jerky leather seats for some nice, supple ones. Let's get into it. Right, so as you can see, the original coupe seat here is pretty well busted. It looks like it was previously owned by Freddy Krueger and he sat on his gloves. I don't know how this happened. This stuff is, MB-Tex, which is like practically bomb-proof. It feels like leather, but it basically wears like a cockroach's back. You're just not gonna kill it. But somehow, sitting in the Bay Area, killed this one. Just, I don't know, temperature changes, who knows. So anyway, we've got this nice supple sedan one, and you might ask, why don't you just put the sedan seat in? Well, I need this kind of functionality. Okay, I need a seat that's gonna fold forward so that people can get in the back of the coupe. This one does not. So the simple solution is to take the skin off this frame, move it to this frame, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get into it. So let's get started in the car and I'll show you how I got this seat out to begin with. First thing you're going to want to do is access the bolts down here. Gently pry away your plastics. Ooh, discover some vintage coins. And this guy right here is a 10. So you're gonna wanna remove these first. While you're back here with the seat forward, you wanna get this guy too. This just pops up, slides to the side. You're gonna need to unbolt that. It comes out with the seat. So here, you wanna roll your seat back so you can get access to these bolts that are in here. We're gonna have to pry this bit of plastic off and pop this off. You just want to be careful with your 30-year-old plastics. All right, now that we've got the bolts off here, we can get the seat back, lean forward, and you lift this up a bit. This is where we're going to start to see some things from the previous owner. But so you get onto this cover under here, and this is where you need to disconnect the seat controls and the vacuum lines and stuff. And this just has some simple pieces here, and then you just gotta argue with it a little bit. Don't break it. I'm gonna have to do two hands on this. And so down here under the seat, you're gonna need to remove these connectors, and then these little connectors too, and also just pull the vacuum hose apart. It's hard to see. It's right down in there. Let me get in there. Right there. You just pull that vacuum hose loose and then you'll be able to get the seat out. So these can just be pried up. You get a screwdriver under it, work it gently, and they pop right off these little pins here. 30-year-old plastic though, this one gave way, unfortunately. So now that all this stuff is out, you can get the seat fully lifted up and start to see what the last owner left for us. Nothing too special. Some coins, some leaves, First Oaks Auto Sales, Fair Oaks, California. Last time I was down here, I did find a joint, which was not surprising. So we're gonna start by working on the bad coupe seat, and that way you can kind of practice and make any mistakes on the skin that you would ultimately throw away. But we'll just start here by removing these two, and then we'll be able to work this back panel off. That's the first step. So right in here, I'm coming in with a screwdriver. You could use definitely some body panel tools or something, but getting in right under here where these two pieces come together. Just getting in there and prying it up a little bit. I'm not putting the tip up toward the leather. I'm leveraging here with the end of it up. And as you can see, this starts to come out. You've got like this clip here. These clips run all the way up. So I'm just going to keep running the screwdriver up here. So you can see here, this fabric just tucks into this channel. This channel is actually part of the back plate here. And then you can just wiggle it out this way. And then it's going to kind of flap open like that. This side, fabric on this side is going to come out the same way, but now that you got it here, you can just kind of yank it. You don't need a screwdriver. The next real steps are to get to these bolts on the armrest. There's a little plastic shroud. It pops off very easy. All right, so the armrest comes off easy just with some 13 right here, easy off. So now we're on to the headrest portion. If you want to get the headrest off, back here there's this button. So it's kind of hard to see, but this is the bottom of the headrest here. This normally plugs into this plastic in here. The tops of these plastics always break off, and so your electric headrest goes up easy, but usually has to be manually pushed down. When you push this button in here, this button right here releases the headrest. So we're just going to go ahead and pull the headrest out. So pretty easy. Lift on the headrest, push the button. Or you would think it would be easy. What is this thing wedged? Whew. Right, so push the button. This thing's a pain in the butt. It's a little rusty from being old, so it takes a little work, but it's gonna come out eventually. And there we go, headrest free. This next step depends on your needs, but because this, what do you even call this? I think this is like horsehair or something, but because the back of this seat is pretty deteriorated, and because I want the seat to be finished really well, I'm going to actually remove the framing of the seat here. This whole framing, I'm going to remove it by pushing out these tabs. I'm just going to bend these tabs out of the way and take this whole metal frame with the seat, because that's my preference. So I'm just going to use a mallet and a screwdriver to bend those out of the way. So you can see here, you don't have to go crazy. You just want to bend that so it's out of the way enough that the metal frame can slide out from that area. And then once you put the new frame pieces in, you just lever those tabs kind of back over the frame with a screwdriver, and it's easy. The next thing we're going to do is release this zone right down here. It's just tucked in here, as you can see. So we're just going to untuck it from the bottom, and then we'll be able to pull the skin off. All right, so again, screwdriver in here, gentle. You've got old cardboard you're working with. You've got old MB-Tex fake leathers, so you don't want to destroy this. Of course, this is the seat that I'm removing, And these are the skins that are sacrificial because they're blown out already. So we're not even going to be too worried about it. We can just start ripping at it. But when we take the other skin off, we're going to want to be significantly more gentle because obviously we don't want to ruin that one. So it's good to practice your technique as you're taking off your old skin. Need to remove this little bit of trim here. Just pry gently, 30-year-old plastic. Don't be too aggressive. Comes off, oof. Comes off pretty easy. Those tabs though, careful. That's something you don't want to do with your new skins, that's for damn sure. All right, so now we get to argue with the main seat. And we got it loose here. The frame is loose. We just got to work it. So back here in the middle, we're just going to grab on the cardboard. We try to push it down this way, and we're going to pull. There we go. Pull that cardboard. There's a little clip back here, a little metal clip. You just push that back a little bit, and then this bit of the cardboard comes off. Now, basically ready to start ripping this thing off of here. Get this cardboard loose from here. And there we go. Wow, this 30-year-old zip tie here. There we go. Release the 30-year-old factory zip tie, and we can consider that thing skinned, huh? Not bad. Not bad at all. So as you can see here, Recaro's, of course, it came apart pretty clean. Now we're ready to start moving the swap over. I'm going to clean up this frame a little bit. Talk about 30-year-old brittle plastics. We can find some more of that brittle plastic inside our other skin here. We got to get this piece of trim off here. There's just a little tab you push in. It falls into no man's land, and then you can work this thing up, probably with a little screwdriver. Gently, obviously, you want to be gentle. There we go. That piece comes off of there. That plastic piece fell down in there somewhere, but when we go to put it back on, just put it together, and then the plastic piece pushes in from this side. This part is kind of annoying, but what I've found is that if you want this skin off, it helps to remove this mounting screw here, and then you want to remove this one completely and loosen this one just a little bit, and then you're able to manipulate this zone here and get a little clearance to get this off. You may be able to get it off, but you're not going to be able to put it back together without these being loosened up first. All right, so now that I've got the bolts out of here, you can see I got a little bit of movement. That's going to allow me to get the fabric loose here. So I'm just going to dig in with the screwdriver as before, and if you compress the top of the seat, you'll find it comes out really pretty easy. Right, compress the seat to relieve the tension. Then you can lever out the bottom of the fabric here. So you can practically slide it out by hand. You squeeze it in there enough. And if you get on it with your body weight like this, then you can really just pull the fabric down. All right, so now that we got the back off, we can finish arguing with this thing and separate this whole deal. I can't believe how much change is coming out of here. This thing is just embedded in the springs. My other seat wasn't this embedded. There we go. Separate it from the rails. Success. old horrible horsehair out. Now we just got carcass. Looks horrible, but once we put it back together, it'll be fine. And just look at all the fruits of my labor. This is all I'm getting paid today, but it looks like a couple bucks. Right, so now that I've de-skinned that thing, now I'm gonna de-skin this good one. I'm not gonna show you because I just showed you how I did that one. So I'm just gonna take my time in private and do this one, and then we'll return and I'll show you how it all goes back onto that carcass. Basically reversing our process of dismantling, you're going to fit the seat cushion over the frame, stretching the horsehair cushion portion over the metal frame itself, then applying pressure to the top of the seat cushion, compressing the seat cushion from above so that you can refit the cardboard trimming into the slot on the seat base itself. It would be way easier to do this on a table and not be doing this right here, but that's how it is. So now that I've got my bolts back in here, just tighten them up with this 13. And this may look low budget, but I did find that it's like impossible to get a screwdriver on this. So these aren't on there stupid tight. I just get on there with a good set of vice grips and get it back into position. That's probably good. All right, so now that I got this tucked in, I'm just gonna use something nearby me. It's just an extension, and I'm just knocking the cardboard piece up into its slot. Not too aggressively, but it just needs to get up in there. And it needs a little help. All right, so there we go. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo, right? It's got it tied up on there. Now let's move on to the back. So hopefully the backrest will go on easy. It's usually not too challenging. So just slip it over, right? The trickiest part is probably just all of this loose metal from the frame of it. That is a little bit tricky, but just take your time and it'll go right together pretty easy. Cool. So that's on. Now I'm gonna slip the framework into place. And when you get these things in place here, then you can just come back through with the screwdriver and pry that back up like that. Nice and snug. See, so all that's in there. All right, so here on the back, we're just gonna make sure this is pushed in really well, and then you just fold this bit of cardboard up under. And it's gotta go behind this little clip that's in the center. You can feel that. Remember, applying a pressure to the top helps it give it that little bit of extra room so it can tuck back there. So tucking in the bottom of the seat back, you just want to compress it as much as you can and then fold it over. It's a little bit of a struggle. Oh, the struggle is too real. All right, so I got half in on this side. And I can go over to this side, brace it with my knee, push it against the seat back so that I get a little reduction of tension here. And then everyone's in there pretty happy. Now that we got the back on, now we can insert the headrest. There we go. Headrest just goes right past the clip there. And then, if you were really lucky, which I'm not, your little plastic piece that the headrest clips into, it'll clip into that back there. Most of those are broken because they're just so old. But there we go, headrest on. Now we're ready to install the back and tuck this stuff all up nicely. So the back panel's pretty straightforward. It just tucks up in here first, of course, and there's a little clip in the middle that it tucks into. You just want to get it up nice and even. There we go. The back's tucked up in there nice. Now I'm going to run these 2 screws back up in here. All right, now that we've got the back on, we can just start tucking this in. Again, pulling the seat back toward the frame to allow for easier tuck is the key. And you can kind of feel the clips go back into place there. And then there you go, just like that. That side's done. And sometimes I'll come back through with just a little tiny screwdriver right where the clips are and just make sure they get pushed down in there solid. There, pretty sweet. Now we can bolt up the armrest. So you're probably thinking, Ollie, I know you have a button over here, and how are you gonna do that? This doesn't add up. Razor blade time. I'm just gonna come in here with a little cut. The key to this is I've already got my leather stretched into place, so I know exactly where it's gonna be. This is the hole of the button. So I'm just gonna put a tiny X right on top of that button. You gotta be careful not to go too wide on this. This fabric is very easy to cut. Right, you can see, made a little spot for the hole. Now I'm just gonna come through and I'm gonna very gently trim this out into a circle. Now this should snap right in there. So there you go, finished product, right? Easy, just always take it slow. Looks like I did put an X on my button. That wasn't the most pro move, but I'll buff that out. Voila, here we go. All ready to go back into the car. I'm not gonna show you guys how to put it back in the car. It's just the reverse of the takeout process. So I'm gonna cram this thing back in the car and then we'll show you the final result here in a few moments. All right, so you can see the fronts are looking nice and fresh. Still got some plastic pieces to put on. I'm not gonna bore you with that stuff, but there you go. Got the rear we need to keep going on, but the fronts are hooked up and I'm liking it. Right, so there you go, friends. Quick mod on the car, swap the seats. Happy with the end result. I'll let you know, I paid $150 for those seats, so swapping made the most sense. Paying $1,000 for some other seats was not gonna work for me. So I hope you guys got something out of it. As ever, you know, I would love a subscription, throw a like at it. Check the rest of the videos. You want to know all about the turbo Benz, it's on the channel. And otherwise, just be well and, you know, appreciate your neighbors' cars, even if they got painted drum brakes and K&N stickers. Like I said before, it always means it's passion. Passion starts somewhere, and eventually it can end up here. So, till next time.